Basically, above 60,000 is the more income in this study area. It is the way it is secured for the livelihood of the local communities. Next is the land use before stone quarrying. It's the forest land, grazing land, fallow and agricultural land. And next, the conversion of agricultural land, basically the forest to agricultural land, agriculture to grazing land, and grazing land to agricultural land, and forest land to agricultural land. This is the totally conversion of the land is land. And next, this is the diagram of the local livelihood of these peoples. And the conclusion recommendation, that's the purpose of this paper, examine the impact of stone quarrying on the forest and the livelihood community in the Dhoriti Forest Range village, Purulia, to use the sustainable livelihood framework to guideline the answering these objectives. And it can be concluded that there is a potential that stone quarrying may contribute significantly in the improvement of the financial and social physical capital of the stone quarrying communities. And there the stone quarrying can be also affect the sustainability, community natural capitals, examine the land and vegetation power, human capital due to the pollution, this affect their health. And there is need to use technology that are used the environment friendly and rehabilitation of the quarry after use, the community will have to continue enjoying the improving livelihood due to stone quarrying, Thank you.
Thank you, Shamir, for your timely presentation. Hello.
Hi. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Now, I would like to request Mallar Basu to come up with his presentation, that is assessing the land degradation scenario of Khoi area, Bolpur, West Bengal. Mallar, you start sharing your presentation.
Is it visible? Hello.
Yeah, Mallar, you are audible.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Mallar Basu, photogrammetry engineer, Department of Photogrammetry, Marvel Geospatial Solution Private Limited, welcomes you all in Gsteo 2023. Today, in front of you, discussing about the land degradation scenario of Khoi area, Bolpur, West Bengal, along with my co-author Ashik Modak, Department of Geography, Adamas University, and Dr. Supratim Karmakar, Department of Geography, Adamas University. This is the content list which I covered in this presentation. We all know western portion of West Bengal, districts of Purulia, Bankura, and some portion of Birbhum situated in the Chotanagpur Plateau region. Badland topography is a geographical landscape of this region, which is created by rill and gully erosion. In Birbhum district, Khoi area of Bolpur is an example of this. Mainly, badland topography is named for agricultural unproductiveness. But in this area are commercially productive areas, and for unplanned commercial utilization, it leads to destruction of these natural topographical features. These objectives of this study are to assess the current land degradation scenario of Khoi area and to examine the impact of tourism on the land degradation of Khoi area. This is the methodology which I used in my study area. Basically, I follow primary survey for knowing the tourist perception. For a primary survey, respondents are having at least experience of 5 times visits on Khoi within at least 10 years. After focus group survey, represent the data by questionnaire, validation, and Likert scale analysis. I found 101 respondents during the survey. For assessing the environmental degradation, collect the data from USGS and prepare LULC map, NDVI map, SAVI map, NDVI map, and SST map of my study area. Bolpur is a culturally heritage site for witness of numerous social and religious movements and also land of red soil, which is unique from the other districts of West Bengal. Yesterday's report said Vishwabharati University of Bolpur to receive UNESCO First Living Heritage designation. Moving to the next slide, here we see the study area on which I have worked. The location of this study area is Bolpur under Birbhum district in the state of West Bengal in India. Now we are going to assess the recent degradation of natural environment. First, we see the land use land cover map of Bolpur over last 30 years. Left side of the slide showing LULC map of 1995. Here we see most of the areas are falling into the fallow land. But in the year 2011, we see vegetation cover surprisingly increase along with build-up areas. In the year 2021, we see vegetation cover has decreased, but built-up area has increased rapidly. In the next slide, we see the change direction map from 1995 to 2021. From the area change analysis, we see fallow land are increasing in the meantime. With this, which area under fallow land in the year 1995, the area change into build-up area. In the land surface area analysis, we see high temperature in the year 1995 is only 19 degrees centigrade and low temperature is 16 degrees centigrade. But in the year 2021, the land surface temperature of Bolpur area is 36 degrees centigrade and low temperature is 25 degrees centigrade. Trend lines showing uprising trend of high and low land surface temperature, and the year 2021 it went on its peak. After processing NDVI map, also we see the growth of build-up area rapidly in this time period. The difference between high and low concentration is decreased in the year 2021. Now, we see the normalized difference vegetation index map or NDVI map. Here also, we see the vegetation area continuously decreased in this time period. In the soil adjusted vegetation index map, also we see the vegetation area continuously decreased, and in the year 2021, it's going at the bottom. During the survey period, October 2021 to March 2023, we see the natural creation of reel and gully erosion getting extinct. Collecting the data from Bolpur municipality, we see hotels are rapidly increasing in the Khowai area. In the year 2020, during the COVID period, 15 hotels are formed in this area. If we see the graph in the right side of the slide, we see vehicle parking during Basanta Utsav is increasing terribly. This picture showing the impact of over-commercialization of this area. Next, we assess the tourist perception on land degradation by field survey. After getting opinion from 12 renowned persons of Bolpur and research scholars, we prepare 5 questions for assessment. First question is, Khowai is a unique place for celebrating folk culture. Second is the natural ambience is degrading day by day due to the irrational behavior of the tourists. Next one is folk artists of Birbhum need more branding or commercialization. Fourth is badland topography was more pronounced 10 years back. And last one is the destruction of badland topography is hampering the core essence of folk culture. For questionnaire validation, we run Cronbach alpha test. From the result, we see Cronbach alpha value is 0.894, which is greater than 0.5. That means the questions are validated. From inter-item correlation matrix, we see red box values are greater than 0.5, which represents questions are correlated with another one. From the first column, we see question number 2 is correlated with question number 1, and also question number 4 and 5 are correlated with question number 3. From 101 respondents who are having at least experience of 5 times visits on Khowai within at least 10 years, scores on 7-scale Likert scale. See, most of the respondents agree with the badland topography was more pronounced 10 years back.
Malhar, I think you have 2 minutes left. So
Okay.
try to sum up with your findings. And
Okay, sir.
2 minutes left.
Okay. Why area need more branding? This is the tourist opinion for five questions. Site suitability map by analytical hierarchy process. After getting the suggestion and values for site suitability analysis for various commercial activities, we calculate an analytic hierarchy process or AHP model. After calculation, we get CI value is 0.064 and CR value is 0.052, which are less than 0.1. That means factors are satisfying for site selection. Factors are distance from market, availability of fallow land, lack of vegetation, distance from the water body, distance from the main road, and distance from the police squares for safety reasons. The major findings are the commercial use of Khwai area is growing year after year, which is ultimately causing shrinking of vegetation cover and expansion of build-up areas, including hotels, commercial shops. Land surface temperature of Khwai area is showing uprising trend, and in the year 2021, it went on its peak. Third one is commercial use of that particular area must not be banned, but according to site suitability analysis, all the activities need to be restricted in some spatial limits. Those activities must not grow throughout Khwai region in thoughtless manner. Fourth one is from the tourist perception analysis, it is clear that the local cultural distinctiveness is the major strength of this area. On the other hand, poverty-stricken condition of the local tribal people is a major challenge in the way of implementing any environmental policy which can restrict the flow of tourists in Khwai region. Keeping in mind all possibilities and obligations, we recommend proper planning for commercial site expansion, create a buffer area from natural resources like water body, vegetation covered, badland area, which is necessary to prevent land degradation. Third one is awareness program for informing the uniqueness of badland topography, like another badland area of West Bengal, Gongoni in West Midnapur. And last but not the least, the declaration of Khwai as a heritage site to restrict commercial activities. Concluded my study by saying Khwai is designated as badland, but looking at its commercial use, it can definitely be concluded that it is productive. The folk culture of this area highly dependent on this topography. Thus, degradation of this land is not at all desirable. Planned and suitable location of the commercial activities can balance the livelihood of the local people as well as environmental protection of the area. This is my reference. I am acknowledged my guide Supratim Kormakar and my co-author Ashit Modak for this study. I am also grateful Professor Maloy Mukhopadhyay. I am thankful to my organization committee and my company Marvel Geospatial Solution Private Limited for. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now thank you, Mallar, for your presentation. Now I would like to invite Priyanshu Natawat, and his topic is impact of climate variability and land use land cover change on land degradation dynamics, a Mithir watershed case study. Priyanshu. Priyanshu is there? Priyanshu, are you there? So I think Priyanshu is not here. Now, after Priyanshu, Ruchira Gupta, She's also not here. Okay. Then I would move towards Riyanka. Is Riyanka here? So is it available with us or not?
Good morning, everyone. Present here. I am Priyanka Gupta, final year postgraduate student of Adamas University, presenting before you all a brief on my research topic, identifying the vulnerable places of LGBTQ community. Good morning, everyone. Present here. Before going into the topic, I would like to focus on the term LGBTQ, with which many of you may be familiar with
Since your
and many
audio
of
is
you
not
may not be.
working and
Lesbian,
we
a woman
can't
who
hear
prefers to
anything.
be
Is audio working correctly?
Before going into the topic, I would like to focus on the term LGBTQ, with which many of you may be familiar with and many of you may not be. Lesbian, a woman who prefers to be associated with a woman. Gay, a man who prefers to be associated with a person of same gender. Bisexual, someone who prefers same as well as opposite gender. Transgender,
Auditorium.
someone who feels
Auditorium.
his or her body is not the sex it should be. Queer comes from the word query, meaning finding identity. They are mostly cross-dressed individuals. Hence, LGBTQ is an umbrella term for the wide spectrum of genders referring to persons' individual sexual orientation or gender identity. Residing in a dark residing in a dark age where heteronormativity exists. Heterosexuality is considered as the only norm in the society, where being homosexual is considered as nothing less than an abnormality, disease, mental disorder, and so forth. Let us keep this aside for a minute and let me try and make it easy for you to relate a bit. I am a woman. Being a woman, till date, I feel unsafe, not secured enough to walk alone in the road at night, visit crowded places so no matter what rights has been issued by the judiciary in my safety. Why? Because there has been multiple instances of me being mocked off, eve-teased, harassed in public places. I am much more comfortable in my home, my private space. Not generalizing, yet there are many regions in the country where patriarchy still exists in some residual forms, where discriminations still exist, not like before, but in residues like in villages and backward parts. Can you imagine that being a woman where I fit the gender stereotype term binary, yet I am facing such difficulties? How difficult can it be for someone who is not even accepted in the society, considered ill? How difficult it is for someone who has not been rejected in the public space, but also from the private space in many cases? Can you imagine if it is took so many feminist movements, revolutions to make the society come to terms with women, a gender that already fitted their stereotype? How difficult can it be for the people of these community to feel accepted? With this, I would like to go further into my slides. residing in a dark age where heteronormativity exists. Homosexuality is still frowned upon by a substantial segment of Indian culture, even among youth. According to study results, less than half of India's urban young approve of same-sex unions. Data shows that religiosity may be influencing Indian society's rejection of homosexuality. According to Pew Research Center study done in 2013, homosexuality acceptance was especially common in nations where religious was less important in people's life. Keeping the seclusion of the community in mind and the harassment faced by them, the major objectives were decided to be first, to unveil the taboos related to this community, and second, the zonation of major places where these communities feel the most vulnerable to negative incidents. For unveiling the taboos related to gender binary, a mixture of primary and secondary survey was conducted where the commoners as well as the LGBTQ perceptions were studied. Based on various surveys, the vulnerable zones of community were identified. A survey of the police stations provided the crime location data that were reported by the community. For relative analysis, data was also collected from about the crimes against women. GIS mapping has been used to map the exact crime location that were reported in KMC area along with police stations where it has been reported. A proximity analysis has been performed on the police station and crime location using buffer tool. GIS and cartographic techniques for the relative spatial assessment of crime against this community with respect to women has been used. Kolkata Municipal Corporation has been chosen as a study area for the research. On the right-hand side, the map shows the distribution of total transgender population in West Bengal according to 2014 census, which is found to be highest in Kolkata, which is one of the reasons to choose this area as a center of my research. Among the many atrocities faced by this community, abuse is a major highlight. There has been a consequent rise in the abuse cases since 2013 till today. While a major part of the society is focused on the seclusion of this community, a minor part of the society is without a fear taking advantage of this seclusion as well as their poverty by engaging them into crimes like child trafficking, drug peddling, etc. This slide depicts the rate of child trafficking cases and drug peddling cases that this community were involved in. The child trafficking cases is still on a rise while there has been a fall in the number of drug peddling cases, which is a ray of hope and a ray of light amidst the dark. This slide depicts the reason why I began by calling it a dark age. Among the 32 people surveyed of this community, all 32 of them has faced verbal abuse and 27 has faced physical abuse. Out of the 32 verbally abused individuals, 19 were based within home and 13 in public spaces. Similarly, if we take note on the 27 physical abuse cases, 9 happened within home while 18 in the public spaces. Besides, it is saddening and frightening to find out that out of this minor sample of 32, 15 already attempted suicide. I have carried out a relative analysis of the criminal offences committed by transgenders with respect to others who doesn't belong to this community. The analysis shows that out of the total convicted of child trafficking, nearly 47% were transgenders. Of woman trafficking, nearly 48% were transgenders, and similarly, criminal offences involved in drug peddling, pickpocketing, and public obscenity out of the total convicted were 48%, 45%, 0.8%, and 67% respectively. Based on the data collected from police stations, these are the exact locations where these community faced harassments and reported to the nearby police stations. The map on the right-hand side shows these crime spots represented by yellow marks. It shows a cluster of reported cases in the prime locations of Kolkata Municipal Corporation, like regions in and around Rabindra Sadan and Toliganj. The table on the left shows the dataset of the location and police stations reported at for your reference. This is the base map in reference to the previous slide, and if you notice carefully, these crime locations are located mostly at the juncture of roads like Exide Crossing, Tollygunge Crossing, and so on, which are the prime location of Kolkata municipal corporations. Most surprisingly, all the crimes that took place happened very near to the police station. For your reference, I have prepared a buffer analysis which I will be showing in one of my next slides. This slide depicts that most of the cases were reported in the Moidan police station and happened in and around that locality, followed by Tollygunge police station, Park Street police station, Radhavpur police station, Lake Garden police station, Girish Park police station. This slide shows the location of the police station where the cases were reported at and the crime location in and around those police stations. This is the buffer analysis that has been performed that shows majority of the vulnerable places happens to be within 1 kilometer radius of the police station, which is an alarming situation considering the safety and security of this community. A comparative analysis has been performed to find out the number of harassment cases reported by people of this community as against women, and this result shows that out of the total 275 cases reported, 22% were of transgender, 66% of queer, and 10% of women. If we compare the individual rates of cases reported in each police stations for each category, we can state that most of the cases, nearly 81 out of 275, were of queer community,